In the heart of California's dense wilderness, nestled between the towering pines and crystalline lakes, stories of Bigfoot linger like an ancient, unspoken secret. While skeptics dismiss them as mere folklore, the believers know better. They can feel the watchful eyes of the elusive giant, hear the distant howls that echo through the canyons, and smell the rank odor that signals its presence. This tale unfolds in the remote regions where the sightings have dwindled, but the mysteries remain as thick as the fog that shrouds the forests. In the summer of 1958, two young hikers, Clara and Jake, ventured into the wilderness near Willow Creek. They were seasoned explorers, familiar with the trails and the hidden beauty of the region. On the fourth day of their trek, they set up camp by a serene stream. As night fell, the usual symphony of crickets and rustling leaves was interrupted by a series of strange whistles and howls. Clara, intrigued by the sounds, insisted on investigating, despite Jake's reluctance. Equipped with flashlights, they ventured into the forest. The sounds grew louder, more urgent, leading them deeper into the woods. Suddenly they stumbled upon an enormous footprint at least 16 inches long. Clara was ecstatic, convinced they were on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery, but Jake felt an eerie chill. They decided to return to their camp, but as they turned, a figure loomed in the darkness. It was massive, at least 8 feet tall, with matted hair and glowing eyes that reflected their flashlight beams. The creature stood still, almost curious. Clara and Jake froze, hearts pounding. Then with a speed that defied its size, the creature vanished into the night. The next morning, Clara was gone. Jake searched frantically, but there was no trace of her. The authorities were notified and a search party combed the area for weeks. All they found were more enormous footprints and broken branches. Clara was never seen again. In 1972, a family vacationing near Mount Shasta experienced a miraculous encounter. The Coopers were camping by a secluded lake when their youngest son Timmy wandered off. Panic set in as hours passed without any sign of the boy. The sun dipped below the horizon and the search seemed futile. Then out of the darkness emerged a figure carrying Timmy. The creature, over 10 feet tall with a muscular build and long dark hair, gently set the boy down and retreated into the forest. Timmy, unharmed but in shock, could only describe his rescuer as a giant hairy man. The Coopers were eternally grateful but deeply unsettled by the encounter. In 1995, a group of college students went camping in the Mendocino National Forest. They were drawn by the stories of Bigfoot and hoped to catch a glimpse of the legendary creature. On the third night, they heard the now familiar howls and whistles. Excited and terrified, they followed the sounds, leaving their campfire behind. The next morning, only one student, Mark, stumbled back to the camp. He was disoriented and covered in scratches. According to Mark, they had encountered a group of Bigfoots. Unlike the usually shy and elusive creatures, these seemed agitated. Mark described a terrifying chase through the woods where his friends were taken one by one. He was the only one to escape, but the memory of what he saw haunted him for the rest of his life.
As the new millennium approached, reports of Bigfoot sightings in California diminished. Some believed the creatures were retreating deeper into the wilderness, avoiding human contact. Others speculated that the population was declining. The last credible sighting was in 2002, when a lone fisherman near Lake Tahoe reported a brief encounter with a towering figure that watched him from the shore before disappearing into the forest.
The stories of Bigfoot in California are as varied as they are haunting. From miraculous rescues to mysterious disappearances, these encounters paint a complex picture of a creature that is both curious and cautious, gentle and fearsome. As the sightings grow rarer, the legend of Bigfoot becomes an enduring mystery, a testament to the wild, untamed spirit of the California wilderness. Whether these creatures are real or simply figments of our imagination, they remind us of the unknown lurking just beyond the edges of our understanding, waiting to be discovered or to remain forever hidden. In the summer of 1973, the Johnson family, Tom, his wife Mary, and their 2 children, Emily and Danny, moved into a remote log cabin near Mount Shasta. Situated on 10 acres of dense woodland, The cabin promised an idyllic escape from the hustle and bustle of city life. The family quickly settled in, relishing the tranquility and the beauty of their surroundings. Not long after their move, strange occurrences began to disrupt their peaceful existence. It started with the family dog Max going missing. One evening he darted into the woods, barking furiously. Despite their calls, he never returned. Days turned into weeks, and Max was still nowhere to be found. The children were heartbroken, and Tom assured them that Max had probably chased after some wild animal and gotten lost. Then other pets began to vanish. The cats, Muffin and Whiskers, who rarely strayed far from the house, disappeared without a trace. Tom found this deeply unsettling. He inspected the perimeter of their property, looking for any signs of predators or traps, but found nothing. One late autumn evening, as Tom was chopping wood, he heard a low, guttural growl from the edge of the forest. He turned quickly, his axe at the ready. There, standing partially obscured by the trees, was an enormous figure. It was covered in dark, matted hair and stood at least 10 feet tall. Its eyes gleamed in the fading light, fixed on Tom with an unsettling curiosity. Tom froze, his heart pounding. The creature stared at him for a few moments before letting out a series of whistles and howls, then disappeared into the forest with alarming speed. Tom stood there, rooted to the spot, unable to believe what he had just witnessed. That night, Tom confided in Mary about the encounter. She was skeptical but listened intently. The next morning, Mary decided to explore the area where Tom had seen the creature. As she walked through the woods, she found a series of large footprints, each about 16 inches long, leading deeper into the forest. She also noticed a rank, putrid odor hanging in the air. Mary hurried back to the cabin and showed Tom her discovery. The footprints and the smell confirmed his fears. They were not alone in the woods. Over the next few weeks, the eerie encounters continued. The family often heard distant howls and whistles at night, and Tom even caught glimpses of the creature watching them from the tree line. Emily and Danny, sensing their parents' unease, grew more fearful and refused to play outside alone. One night, the family awoke to the sound of loud banging on the walls of their cabin. Tom grabbed his rifle and rushed outside, but found nothing except the lingering stench. The next morning, they discovered claw marks on the wooden walls, higher than any bear could reach. Tom knew he had to protect his family. He couldn't risk another encounter with the creature. However, he also didn't want to frighten them with tales of a giant, hairy beast. Instead, he decided to use a more plausible excuse. Gathering his family, Tom announced, "I've been thinking, with Mount Shasta being an active volcano and the wildfire risks out here, it's probably not safe for us to stay. We should move to a place where we don't have to worry about those dangers." Mary understood the real reason behind his decision, but agreed with him. The children, though sad to leave their home, accepted their father's reasoning. The Johnson family packed up their belongings and left the cabin a few days later. As they drove away, Tom glanced in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the creature watching them leave, but all he saw was the dense forest, silent and mysterious as ever. They relocated to a small town, far from the wilderness of Mount Shasta. While they missed the beauty of their old home, they never spoke of the strange incidents again. The family found solace in the safety of their new surroundings, leaving behind the haunting memories of their time in the remote log cabin. Years later, when asked about their time near Mount Shasta, Tom would simply say, "It was beautiful, but the risks were too great." Only Mary knew the full story, and she kept that secret, allowing the legend of Bigfoot to remain just that, a legend lurking in the shadows of the forest. As the sun sets behind the redwoods, California's Bigfoot remains an intriguing mystery. From numerous sightings to eerie night sounds, the legend continues to captivate. Thank you for joining us on this Bigfoot adventure. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more explorations. Have you or someone you know had an encounter? Share your stories in the comments below. Stay curious, stay adventurous, and keep exploring the mysteries of the forest.